This video is a continuation of the previous video, and in this video, I will discuss some more examples related to the use of multiple constructors in a class or constructor overloading in a class. Now, let's start with a class car. This class has private attributes or private data members, brand, model, and color. The brand is of type string, model variable is of type int, and color is of type string. All these attributes are private, and there is a public function or method show to show the values of all these attributes at the output. Now inside main, if you want to create an object of the class car, then when there is no constructor inside the definition of car, then the compiler will automatically insert a default constructor with empty body. And if an object, let's say C1, is created, then the code will be executed without any error, and all these variables or attributes will be initialized to garbage values. String will store an empty string, model will hold a garbage value, and string color will hold a garbage value when the object is created. Because the compiler will insert a default constructor and the body of that constructor is empty, so no value will be assigned to the attributes. So the code is executing without any error. Now let's add a default constructor in this class. Here I will add the constructor. The name of the constructor is same as the class. Then for default constructor, we know that there is no parameter, so we don't need to write any parameter inside these brackets or parentheses. Then the body of the constructor starts, and inside the body I will write the statement in order to display the message default constructor. And let's initialize the attributes to some default values when this constructor is executed. Let's initialize brand to Honda, model to 2026, and color to red. Let's use the function show here to display the value of the attributes. So here I have used the member access operator dot to access the member function show of object C1. So now the program will display the default values, and first the program has displayed default constructor brand Honda, model 2026, color red. So on object creation, the program automatically calls this default constructor, and inside the body the default constructor will be executed, and this message will be displayed at the output. After that, brand is initialized to this string, then model is initialized to this value 2026, then color is initialized to this string. And when this method or member function is called, then the values are displayed at the output. Now let's add a parameterized constructor here. If you want to pass your own parameters at the time of object creation. Now here you need to pass your own parameters, so we need to declare some variables here that will be assigned the parameter values, and then the variables should be assigned to these member variables inside the body of the constructor. So here I will use string space b. B is my variable of data type string, int space m, and then string space c. And inside the body, I will write here to display the message parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor, then brand is equal to b. Whatever value is passed by the user for brand, that will be assigned to b, and in turn it will be assigned to brand. Model equals to m, and color equals to c. Now this b, m, and c parameter, now all these parameters will be provided by the user at the time of object creation. So let's create an object C2 of class car with parameterized constructor. For parameters, you need to follow the sequence, and first I will give the value for b. So I will write here a string. Now b is of data type string, so you should pass here a string inside double quotes. I will write here Honda Civic. Then for next parameter, I need to pass a value of data type int that will be assigned to m, 2026. For the next parameter, I need to again pass a string. So again, inside double quotes, I will pass here the string for color. So color black. So when this statement is executed, then an object C2 of car is created inside memory with member variables, brand, model, and color, and the values that will be initialized in those member variables will be Honda Civic 20266 is stored in model, and black is stored in color. Now, when this statement is executed, then an object C1 is created in memory with attributes brand, model, color. These all are uninitialized, and after that, the default constructor is called, and the program will display default constructor at the output. Then handle will bring the cursor to the start of next line, and brand will be initialized to Honda. Model to 2026, and color to red. So these values are stored for C1 in memory. After that, when show is called C1.show, the program will move to the function show, and values of brand, model, brand equals to Honda, model 2026, and color equals to red according to the definition of function show. So this is function show. Now when this statement is executed, then another object C2 will be created in memory brand equals to model equals to color equals to all are uninitialized. After that, the parameterized constructor is called, and Honda Civic is assigned to B. Honda Civic is assigned to B. 2026 is assigned to M, and black is assigned to C. And the body of this constructor is called, and the program will display parameterized constructor at the output. And L will bring the cursor to the start of the next line, and B will be assigned to brand, model, M will be assigned to model, C will be assigned to color. So Honda Civic will be assigned to brand, and 2026 will be assigned to model, and C will be assigned to color, that is black will be assigned to color. Now if C2.show is called, then the program will move to the function show, and the program will display brand equals to Honda Civic, model equals to 2026, and color equals to black. So this show is called for C2. So the values of the members of C2 will be displayed, and this show is called for C1. So here for C1, the values are being displayed here. This is for C1, and this default constructor is also for C1, and this constructor was called for C2, and this brand, model, and color is also called in show for C2. So this is the output of the code. So let's execute the code and see the result. So this is for C1, C1, and C2, C2 dot show. C1, C1 dot show, and C2, C2 dot show. Now, if someone wants to create an object by calling only the two parameters or by passing only the two parameters, let's create another object C3. Now, if these objects need to be created with only two parameters, Corolla 2020. If you try to execute the code, then the code will generate an error in this case because we have not passed the complete parameters, and the program will not be able to match the number of parameters with the existing constructors inside the code. So the program is giving an error that no instance of constructor car matches the argument list, and car no overload function takes two argument. So the program is displaying that there is no constructor with two parameters available in the definition of class. So we need to add a constructor with two parameters here in order to execute the code without any error. So I will add here another constructor with two parameters. So again, I will use the same name as the class, and inside the parenthesis, I will pass only two parameters. Here, the program should display parameterized constructor 2 at the output, and brand equals to B, model equals to M, and here I am not initializing color. Color will be left uninitialized. Now, when this statement is executed, then an object C3 is created in memory with member variables brand, model, color. At the start, all are uninitialized. After that, the program will call the two parameter constructor. Corolla will be assigned to B, 2020 will be assigned to M, and the program will execute the body of this constructor. Inside the body, the program will display parameterized constructor 2, and B is assigned to brand, and M is assigned to model. So Corolla will be assigned to brand and stored in memory, and 2020 is assigned to model, and color is left uninitialized. And since color is a string, so an empty string will be stored in color when there is no initialization for color. Now, when this function show is called for C3, then the program will display brand equals to Corolla, model equals to 2026, 2020, and for color, it will display an empty string. So this is the output that will be displayed in addition to the output of the previous instructions. So these instructions will be further displayed. So this is C1, C1 dot show, C2, C2 dot show, C3, C3 dot show. This constructor is the default constructor. This is the parameterized constructor, and this is the parameterized constructor with two parameters. Now let's see another example. Here, for a class student, the private attributes are name, ID, CGPA. Name is of data type string, ID is of data type int, CGPA is of data type double, or all are uninitialized inside the definition of class. And these all are private. There is a public method show to display the values of all these attributes at the output. Then there is a default constructor. The constructor has same name as the class, and inside the body, the program will display default constructor and then will assign the value of string John to name, and 123 to ID, and 2.0 to CGPA. And then another constructor with parameters. This is parameterized constructor. Inside the parenthesis, I have used string space n, comma int space I, double space c. When the function is executed, these variables are created inside memory, and the values passed as parameters by the users are assigned to these variables. Inside the body, the values of these variables are assigned to the attributes of the class. The program will display parameterized constructor, and then the values will be assigned to attributes. Then I have added another constructor with only two parameters just to elaborate the concept of overloading. And here I have used string space n, int space I, and inside the body parameterized constructor 2 will be displayed, n will be assigned to name, and I will be assigned to ID, and these parameters will be provided by the user at the time of object creation, or the programmer at the time of object creation. Now, when the program executes student space S1, then an object S1 is created inside memory with uninitialized values for all the attributes, and the default constructor is called for the object S1. The default constructor will display default constructor at the output. Then John will be assigned to name, and 1, 2, 3 will be assigned to ID, 2.0 will be assigned to CGPA. So S1 will hold these values, and S1 dot show will show all these values at the output. After that, this statement will create an object S2 of student, and we have passed these parameters to this object. On object, when object is created and stored in memory, initially all the members are uninitialized with garbage values, and then the parameterized constructor with 3 parameters is called, and the body will display parameterized constructor at the output, and n will be assigned to name, I is assigned to ID, and C is assigned to CGP, and for N we have passed WIC, then 2, 3, 4 for ID, and 3.89 for CGPA. So all these value will be assigned to the attributes. When S2.show is called, then all these values will be displayed at the output for S2. When this instruction is called, then the program will match the 2 parameterized constructor for this object. The object will be stored in memory with all the attributes that are initially left uninitialized. And when the parameterized constructor having 2 parameters is called, then these values are assigned to name and ID. And the third member is left uninitialized. So CGPA will hold a garbage value, and name will hold WIC, and ID will be assigned 2, 3, 4. After that, S3.show is called, and the program will display these two values, and for CGPL it will display a garbage value. So let's execute and see the result. So for S1, default constructor is executed and default values are assigned. For S2, the parameterized constructor is executed and parameters are assigned. And for S3, the 2 parameter constructor is executed and 2 parameters are assigned, and the third one is assigned a garbage value. So in this way, we can add multiple constructors to a single class with different parameters